Hello students, welcome to another class of International Financial Management. In this lecture, we will see that how exchange rates are quoted and what are the different terms of exchange rate. Furthermore, we will look into the concept of arbitrage and the different types of arbitrage in international financial management. We will conclude this lecture with the concept and understanding how to compute the triangular arbitrage. With triangular arbitrage, we mean that between the three currencies, there is a mispricing when it comes to the exchange rate and how we can exploit that mispricing to earn the riskless profit. So let's start with the first slide of this lecture.
As I have just mentioned, this is the lecture about the foreign exchange rates and the arbitrage, but the main arbitrage is the triangular arbitrage, which we will study over here. The learning objectives are, as I have mentioned, what are the exchange rate and how they are quoted. What are the different terms used for the exchange rate? For example, you might have heard about the direct exchange rate, direct quote, indirect quote, about the exchange rate. So we'll talk about them. What is the arbitrage and the types of the arbitrage in international finance? And finally, what is the triangular arbitrage? The key terms are the exchange rates, cross rate, direct and indirect quotes, European term and American term, the arbitrage, and the cross rate or the triangular arbitrage. Both are the same thing, and we'll talk about them. So first of all, as you might aware by this time, that the foreign exchange rate is the price of one currency in terms of another currency. I'll start with the example of the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. If we want to buy the 1 unit of the US dollars, right now the exchange rate is 1.32 Canadian dollars. So we'll write it will be quoted it as the US dollar. 1 unit of the US dollar, and we can buy it by paying 1.32 units of the Canadian dollar. So this is how it is quoted. And the one weird thing right away I have to mention over here, when the numerical problem which involves exchange rate are given, you need to write it in a mathematical way, and which is Canadian dollar 1.32 per unit of US dollars. Very weird, but this is how things are happening. And always remember that the calculation can be very clear for you, or the concept will be very clear for you if you consider this currency, US dollar over here, which is also turned out to be the base currency, because we want to buy 1 unit of the US dollars. So that is a base currency, and the price or quote currency is the Canadian dollar in this case, which is 1.32, because 1.32 is the price for 1 unit. 1.32 Canadian dollar is the price for 1 unit of the US dollar. If we consider, let's suppose if a pencil comes by paying 50 cents of Canadian dollar, then how we will write it? We will write it like this: 0.5 or dollars, Canadian dollars, or 50 cents of Canadian 50 cents per pencil, right? We will write it like this. So always consider it's almost the same way we are quoting the or expressing the currency exchange rate over here. We need 1 unit of the US dollar by paying 1.3 units of the Canadian dollar. So always consider the base currency as a commodity. If you will consider the currencies as commodity, it will clear the concept, and you will be easily calculate or compute the computations for the questions where the exchange rates are involved. Otherwise, I have seen and experienced students remain confused while doing the calculation. The different symbols for the currencies are given over here on this slide. You can see that for the US dollar, this is the sign. For the euro, it's something like E. Then you have for pound, for yen, and the Mexican pesos. Now, whenever the exchange rate is involved, there is always a one base currency or unit currency, and the other is price or quote currency. Like in the earlier case, I was writing it like the US dollars, and we were quoting as Canadian dollar 1.32. So in this case, whenever your one currency, the currency whose one unit we not need to buy, it is actually the base currency or the unit currency, and the other one is the price currency. This is the price of in Canadian dollar of US dollars, 1.32 Canadian dollar, in order to buy 1 unit of the US dollars. In case of there is another example on this slide about the US dollar and euro. We can see that 1 unit of the euro currency is there is a quotation between the euro and the US dollar over here, and we can see that 1 unit of the euro is priced at 1.2174 US dollars. So it means this is the base currency now, and this is the price or quote currency. You can go on this chart, this link, and you can see that how the rates between the Canadian dollar and US dollar is quoted. Now, there are two very popular terms which is called direct quote and indirect quote. If you are a Canadian and you want to buy 1 unit of any foreign currency by paying the Canadian dollar, if the exchange rate is quoted in such a way, then it is called a direct quote. For example, over here we can see again 1.3314 Canadian dollar is needed to buy 1 unit of the US dollar. So this is a direct quote for the Canadian dollar. Now, if we'll divide 1 by 1 by 1.3314, we'll actually get 0.7511, and this will show us that 0.7511 US dollars are not needed to buy 1 unit of the Canadian dollar. So in other words, how much units of the foreign currency is needed in order to buy 1 unit of the domestic currency? Because you are the Canadian over here, so this is the indirect quote. This turned out to be the direct quote for an American citizen, and this turned out to be a indirect quote for the American citizen. So always remember this: when you are buying 1 unit of the foreign currency and you are converting your domestic currency in order to buy 1 unit of the foreign currency, that is the direct quote for you. And if by paying some foreign currency, you are trying to find that what is the price of 1 unit of your domestic currency in terms of the foreign currency, then that is then indirect for you. There are 2 more terms for the exchange rates, and one is the European term, and the other one is the American term. When we are buying 1 unit, or the exchange rates are quoted in such a way that the base currency is US dollars, means 1 unit of the US dollars is priced with some foreign currency. For example, in this case, 0.8214 euros are needed in order to buy 1 unit of the US dollars, then it is called the European terms. One important thing to clear the concept over here is this: that apart from the euro, there could be any other currency as well. For example, in case of Pak rupees, in order to buy 1 unit of the US dollar, we need to pay 165 Pakistani rupees. So this is also a European term because we are buying the base currency. 1 unit of the base currency is always in 1 unit. So base currency is US dollar. So when the base currency is US dollar and we are buying 1 unit of US dollar and expressing the exchange rate in such a way where we are trying to buy 1 unit of US dollar, then that is a European term. Does not matter what is the other currency. So it can be euro, it can be pound, it can be Pak rupee, it can be Mexican pesos, or it can be any other currency. In case of American term, we are buying 1 unit of any other currency by paying certain units of the US dollars. So in this case, if you divide you take the reciprocal of 165. In other words, if we divide 1 by 165, it will show us that in order to buy 1 unit of Pakistani rupees, we need to pay the US dollars of 0.006061. So 0.006061 units of US dollar needed to pay in order to buy 1 unit of Pak rupees. So this where the base currency is any other currency, and we are trying to buy the base currency with the price currency being the US dollar, then it is called the American term. Normally, the exchange rates are the average of the bid and ask rate, which is quoted by the dealers. So over here, we can see that the exchange rate is quoted between the euro and US dollar, where euro is the base currency. It means we are pricing 1 unit of the euro by paying certain units of the US dollars. So US dollar is the quote or price currency over here. So this is the dealer rate. This shows that in order to buy 1 unit of euro, the dealer is ready to pay 1.2170. In other words, if I'm the seller of the euros to the dealer will only pay me 1.217 euros, sorry, $7, and buy 1 euro from me. But if I need to buy the same euro from the dealer, I need to pay $1.2178 to the dealer so that I can buy 1 unit of the euro. So the difference between these two rates are the spread, which is the profit for the dealer. If I'll take the average, means I add them both and divide it by 2, I'll get the exchange rate, and this is the midpoint at which most of the exchange rates are quoted. And again, what's by this time you should pause and note it down. What is this way of writing the exchange rate? Mathematical way or quotation? Clearly, it's a mathematical way. The quotation should be like this: euro, the base currency, $1.2174. Again, very weird, but this is how things happen. When this exchange rate will be used in a calculation, then this is the right way, or this is the right approach to write down the exchange rate. But if you'll go on any exchange rate website, the quotation is usually happen in this way. This is how the quotation is mentioned, or the exchange rates are quoted between the two currencies. This is the table from 18th February 2015. You can see, if we'll go in case of Canada, in order to buy 1 unit of Canadian dollar, 0.8029 US dollars are needed. So how the things will be quoted? What is the base currency over here? The base currency is Canadian dollar. So Canadian dollar, because we are buying 1 unit of Canadian dollar and we are pricing 1 unit of Canadian dollar in terms of the US dollar. So US dollar is 0.8029. And if we'll take its reciprocal, then 1 unit of the Canadian dollar needed to be bought with 1.2455 Canadian dollar. 1 unit of US dollar, in order to buy 1 unit of US dollar, 1.2455 Canadian dollars are needed. And this is over here. Now, what is cross rate? Sometimes the two currencies cannot be very much popular and they might not be traded against each other. For example, if I want to go to the Mexico, and obviously for the tourism purposes, I need to have the local currency of that country, which is the Mexican pesos, but I have Pak rupees in my pocket. How can I get the Mexican pesos, and what is the code between the Mexican pesos? These two currencies, Pak rupees and Mexican pesos, are not traded against each other, but they are traded against US dollars. So in that case, we will find out the exchange rate between the Pak rupees and Mexican pesos using the cross rate. For example, this is the quote where the base currency is the US dollars, because we are pricing the 1 unit of US dollars in terms of Mexican pesos. 19.22 Mexican pesos are needed in order to buy 1 unit of US dollars, and 140 Pak rupees are needed in order to buy 1 unit of the US dollar. So what is the Mexican peso and Pak rupee rate? In order to do that, we will obviously, this is where I wanted to tell you that how we will convert this quotation into the mathematical way. In mathematical way, this is simply the Mexican peso, 19.22 per US dollar, and this is actually the Pak rupees, 140 per US dollar. In order to find the rate against each other, we have to cancel these dollars. And in order to do that, I have to take the reciprocal of one currency. And I have decided to take the reciprocal of the Mexican peso and US dollar exchange rate. So if you divide 1 by the 19.22, you will get this number over here. So just pause the video and do divide 1 with 19.22. You'll see that 0.052 dollars, US dollars, are needed in order to buy 1 Mexican peso. And then you have Pak rupee of 140 needed in order to buy 1 unit of the US dollar. So in this case, this US dollar will simply cancel out with this US dollar, and all you are left with the two currencies, which is Pak rupees in the numerator and the Mexican peso in the denominator, and you will end up getting 7.2841. So it means 7.2841 Pak rupees needed in order to buy 1 unit of Mexican peso. But how do we quote it? We simply quote it like Mexican pesos PKR 7.2841. So the one Mexican peso is priced in terms of Pak rupees, which is 7.2841. Now let's move on the arbitrage. What is arbitrage? Arbitrage is simply the way of making the risk-free profit by the investor or the trader. When there is the mispricing of an asset into different markets, and simultaneously one can buy a security or an asset at a smaller price and sell it in another market at a higher price, this is how the profit is generated due to the temporary differences in the prices. And that profit is arbitrage, and it is considered risk-free free profit. It is considered risk-free profit because all the transaction is happening simultaneously right away over there. So in international finance management of international finance, or there are three arbitrages, and one is the locational arbitrage, one is triangular arbitrage, and one is the covered interest rate parity arbitrage. In this lecture, we'll cover the locational or the spatial arbitrage and the triangular or cross rate arbitrage. And the covered interest rate arbitrage, I will not discuss in this lecture, and in another lecture, I will discuss this in detail. So let's move with the spatial or the locational arbitrage. Now let's suppose there are two banks, Bank A and Bank B, and there is a foreign currency and the domestic currency. So these are the, if you see that 1 unit of the foreign currency you need to buy over here, and the exchange rate are quoted in such a way that you need to pay the 0.5838 domestic currency per unit of the foreign currency. It means it's a direct quote. So the Bank A has the bid and ask rate. In the bid risk, they are ready to buy 1 unit of the foreign currency at this rate, and they are ready to sell 1 unit of the foreign currency at this rate. So obviously you can see there is a spread, and they want to sell the foreign currency at a high rate. Now let's suppose if you go to the Bank A and ask for this foreign currency and pay them 0.5841 units of the domestic currency. So now you have 1 unit of the foreign currency. The same 1 unit of the foreign currency, if you go to the Bank B, you can see that Bank B is buying the foreign currency and paying you the domestic currency at a more rate. So it means you just paid 0.5841 domestic currency to Bank A and got your 1 unit of foreign currency. The same you sold it to Bank B and got 0.5842 units of the domestic currency. So you made the profit because you sold it the same unit of the foreign currency at a high rate. You paid for the foreign currency only 0.5841, but you sold the same to the Bank B at a high rate. So there is, you can see that there was the opportunity to buy an asset, which is in this case the foreign currency, at a low rate and sell it to another bank at a high rate. So because of the mispricing, the opportunity appears, and the customer or the investor or the trader right away exploited that opportunity and generated the risk-free profit, because both of these two transactions where he paid the 0.584 units, 41 units of domestic currency and bought 1 unit of the foreign currency, and right away sold 1 unit of the foreign currency to Bank B to get 0.5842 units of the domestic currency, and thus generating the profit of, in terms of domestic currency, of 0.0001, like over here. He generated risk-free profit. So this is actually the arbitrage over here. Remember this thing, this opportunity of the arbitrage does not remain there for a very long period of time. Right away, the market forces examine the situation and exploit this arbitrage situation until the mispricing simply goes away and the prices comes back into the equilibrium. Now in the triangular arbitrage, the main concept is this, that the exchange rate between the three currencies are mispriced. And because of the mispricing, if there is a person who has already the currency F and he sell off the currency F and buy currency D, and now he sell currency D and buys currency E. And in the last step, he sell this currency E and buy back his currency F, which was the original currency. And let's suppose if he has generated the profit over here, like from the starting point, he might have just sold 1 unit of this F currency, but by completing this whole process, he ended up getting more than 1 unit of the foreign currency, say 1.2 of units of the foreign currency. We can see that he has generated the profit, and this profit is a result of the cross rate arbitrage. So buy D currency with F, buy E currency with D, and finally buy back F currency with E. And if you end up having more F units of currency compared to what you have originally invested, then it means there was a presence of the triangular arbitrage. Now look the example over here. First of all, pause the video again and see whether these rates are quoted in terms they are written in terms of the quotation, or are they written in a mathematical way? Yes, you are right. It's actually a mathematical way. If you wanted to see its quotation is actually this: euro, US dollar 1.3297. But in terms of mathematical way, this is how we will write it. Now, if these are the three rates between US dollar and euro, US dollar and Great Britain pound, and euro and Great Britain pound, then step one is that always take their product, and in such a way that all the currency units get cancel each other, and check what is the product number. So if you see, this number is as it is coming over here. So dollars, because the dollar was in the numerator and the euro was in the denominator, and then 1.3297. This 1.1722 is for this rate. But here I did some separate treatment. I took the reciprocal of 1.5585, and means I divided 1 by 1.5585. And in doing so, I got this number, 0.641643, and also the currencies replaced their positions. The US dollar, which was in the numerator over here, it came to the denominator, and the Great Britain pound, which was in the denominator, went to the numerator. And why did I do that? I wanted to cancel the currencies. If I take the now product between three exchange rates, I can simply see that dollar is going, this dollar in the numerator is getting cancelled with this dollar in the denominator. This euro in the denominator is getting cancelled with this euro in the numerator. Likewise, this pound is getting cancelled with this pound. And if I'll take the product, I'll get 1.000112, which is greater than 1. And with such a situation, it means there is an arbitrage opportunity. And that arbitrage is triangular arbitrage. Having the arbitrage opportunity means that very quickly an investor or trader can exploit this situation to generate some riskless profit, because he will be doing these transactions simultaneously right away. If the product is equal to 1, then there is no arbitrage opportunity. Usually, while doing these questions, try to go to 6 decimal places. This is my recommendation, that go to the 6 decimal places, like I have done over here, 1.000112. So now the rule is this, that if the product of the exchange rate is greater than 1, then one currency need to depreciate, because the system is not in equilibrium. One currency need to depreciate, and the asset will depreciate when you'll start selling it in the market. So sell the denominator currency and start from the right. So in this case, if you have the dollars and say that you have $500 million, it's a big amount, but normally if such an opportunity comes and banks have excess cash present with them in their treasury, then they can exploit such an opportunity to generate the riskless profits. Sorry, this screen is moving a lot. I'm really sorry for that. So the second rule is this, that if the product of exchange rate is less than 1, then one currency needs to appreciate to bring the system into equilibrium. Therefore, buy the denominator currency and start from the left. Which rule will apply in this case? Because the product is greater than 1, we'll go with this rule, right? With this rule. So now what is the step over here? So the step over here is that we will start selling the rule was this, that one currency need to be sold over here, sell the denominator currency, and start from the right. So start over here from the right. If you have euros, then rearrange the exchange rate in such a way that bring this over here on this side. So the step 1 you already did, you checked the product. The step 2, within the step 2, the first part is that sell 1. This is actually the sell. Sorry guys, it's not very clear. I'm trying to make it clear. So the step 2, sell $1 and buy pound 0.641643. So you are selling this in the denominator and buying the pound over here. And we can see that $1 is equal to 0.641643 units of the pound. So this is the first part of the second step. The second part, which I am naming it as B, now I have what? I have pounds. So all I have to sell is pound and buy the third currency, which is the euro. So I'm selling the pound 0.641643 and buying euro. And in order to buy the euro, I need to do the calculation in such a way that in the numerator and the denominator, the other currency get cancelled out. So the good thing is this, that in the present setting, I do not have to take any reciprocal. But if you will keep this tip in your mind, that you while having a desired currency, you need to cancel out the other currency. This will help you a lot in doing the calculation where more tricky situations are involved. So in this case, I need to buy the euro, right? I need to buy the euro. And in doing so, simply I need to have the pound in the denominator. So multiply the pound in the denominator. And what is that rate? 1.1722. If you do the calculation, you can see that this pound is getting cancelled with this pound, and you are left with the euro. Euro 0.752134. And in the final step, I need to now sell the euro of 0.752134 and buy the dollars back. because I started with the dollar, right? With the dollar, buy the dollar. And again, I need to set up the numbers in such a way where only dollar should be left. So over here, dollar per euro, it's given 1.3297 multiply by, you have euro over here, which is 0.752134, and euro will cancel with this euro. In order to make more, this euro will cancel with each other, and we will be left with only the dollar, which is 1.000112. So this is the process through which anyone can generate the profit through the triangular arbitrage. Now, what would be the profit on the $500 million? If you do this calculation, you will find out that it is approximately 56,000. So the profit is simply $500 million, because over here this profit is on $1. So on the 500 million, we need to multiply this where 1.000112 minus 1. So that this will generate your profit on the 500 million, which is approximately, so I'm just now writing over here the profit amount, multiply by 0.000112. This is the profit on 1 unit. On 500 million units, if we do the calculation, this is round about the $56,000. So this is the riskless profit. In a more clear way, the same calculations I have done over here, step by step, the same thing which I was showing earlier. Let's move to another question. Over here, these are the dollars. So you can see it's a mathematical way of writing. Over here, the base currency is yen and the unit currency is dollar for the first exchange rate. And then for the second exchange rate, you can see it's yen versus Deutschmark, 60.75 yen in order to buy 1 unit of the Deutschmark. So the Deutschmark is the base currency. And finally, you have 1.7125 Deutschmark in order to buy 1 unit of the dollar. So this yen will cancel with this dollar will cancel with this, and this Deutschmark will cancel with this. All you end up is getting 0.999754, and we can see that this is less than 1. In that case, we have another rule. Here one currency will appreciate, so we will buy the denominator currency and start from the left. In this case, if you have the yen available, you have the dollars available, so you will sell $0.0096094 and buy 1 unit of the yen. Then you will sell that 1 unit of yen and get this Deutschmark. This is an important step, and it's a bit different from the previous one. Now, in the second step, the final currency we need is Deutschmark. So that currency we need in the numerator, and the setup should be like this, that where Deutschmark divided by yen should be multiplied by the yen, so that these two currencies, these yen in the denominator get cancelled with the numerator yen, and all we should left with the Deutschmark. So the yen was already there, 1 unit of the yen, but the currency over here is 60.75 yen per Deutschmark. So take the reciprocal, means divide the 1 with 60.75. So you will be left with actually this amount, 0.016461, the same amount over here. And the currencies will change the position as well. So over here it was yen on the top and Deutschmark in the bottom. Now the Deutschmark will be on the top and the yen will be in the bottom, and this is the setup which we actually wanted. So 0.016461, and this is the reason why over here yen got cancelled, and the Deutschmark which we'll get is 0.016461. In the third step, we'll sell this Deutschmark 0.016461 and get the dollars. So it means we needed the setup like this: dollar divided by the Deutschmark multiplied by the Deutschmark, so that the Deutschmark should cancel with each other, and all we should left by the end of this step the dollars. So over here, can we see that dollar is on the top? No. So it means take its reciprocal, 1 divided by 1.7125, and the dollar will go up over here, and the Deutschmark from here move to down in the denominator. So if you take this, you will like divide and do the calculation over here, and ended up getting the 0.009612. So do your own calculation. Over here the Deutschmark was 0.016461, and you need to take the reciprocal of 1.7125. 1.7125. I'm doing the calculation right away with you guys. 0.583942. I'm using the 6 decimal places, and now multiplying it with 0.016461, and here you go, I got this number, and only the dollars are left, 0.009612. Now see that the currency from where you actually started, are you able to get more than that? So this is what you are able to get, 0.009612 minus this one, 0.00960984. So over the investment of $1, you generated this much profit in dollars. Now if you have again the same question, say what is the profit on $600 million? Simply multiply 600 million with this number, and you will get the profit generated to the arbitrage, triangular arbitrage. While doing this, always remember this thing, that consider which currency you have in hand. Over here, if the question is that you have $600 million, this is fine. This step is fine. Buy the denominator currency and start from the left, like what we are doing over here, right? So we are buying the yen with the dollars, because you had dollar over here. Now what if you would have yen in your hand, rather 600 million dollars, if you would have yen, then in that case you need to buy the denominator currency and start from the left. So you should arrange it like this: yen divided by the Deutschmark. So buy Deutschmark by selling yen, and your next currency should be then the Deutschmark dollar, so that once you have already bought the Deutschmark, now you have to sell this Deutschmark and buy the dollar, and your final currency will be dollar and yen, so that once you end up all this process, you will get your yens back, and that yen should be more than what you have actually invested. So in other words, you need to see which currency you have in order to arrange the product of three exchange rates. Remember, A multiplied by B, this is the property, commutative property, multiplied by C is the same as C multiplied by B multiplied by A, or B multiplied by A multiplied by C. So does not matter what is the order of the product, the overall product of the exchange rate will remain the same. So try to intelligently think over the question. Once you have the question on regarding the triangular exchange arbitrage in front of you, and do your calculation. So now what we have learned in this video, sorry guys, yeah, so what we have learned in this lecture is what are the different terms for the exchange rate. For example, the American term, the European term, what are the way to quote it, and there are two quotes, direct quotes and indirect quotes. So we learned these terms. You also see that what is arbitrage and what are the three arbitrage, but we actually focused on only two arbitrage. One is the locational, the other one is the triangular arbitrage. And finally we also did the profit calculation. If the triangular arbitrage exists, there is a mispricing between the exchange rate of the three currency. If the exchange rate of the three currency, that system is in disequilibrium, what is the process of exploiting that mispricing and to generate the riskless profit. I hope this video helped you a lot. Thank you for watching this video.